Welcome back, guys, to another edition of Trust Me, I'm an Idiot. Today we are going to replace this leaking water softener with this one that hopefully doesn't leak. But first, I need to go back to the hardware store because this one has a different connector than this one does because, well, yeah. But this will be pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Trust me. Okay, back from the hardware store with everything I think I may need. Knowing how plumbing usually goes in my family, I'm probably going to need to make at least 4 more trips, so we'll see, fingers crossed. First off, you may ask, why are we replacing this? Why are we just trying to fix it? The problem with this particular water softener is the valve mechanism up here is leaking. There's a constant sort of just trickle of water running through, and it never stops. And I noticed my water bill is going up higher and higher every month to almost double what they normally are. And that led me to, okay, well, what's going on? I'm not using that much water. It's like 11,000 gallons a month for 3 people. So it's not reasonable. So that was constantly running. And the reason we can't fix it is this particular model is from a company that is very proprietary. They will try to sell you, instead of, here, have this softener and you can do what you want with it, they do a reasonably monthly fee where they will come in and they'll set everything up for you. They'll, distribute salt, everything like that. This came with the house. When I bought it, I did not take over the maintenance the lease, essentially. So it was up to me to maintain everything. The problem, of course, with it being a very proprietary softener is that it's impossible to get parts for. The only way you can get parts for this particular unit is if essentially you're a distributor or you manage to somehow find one used or something like that. There really aren't anything like on eBay or just on sites around the internet where you can buy replacement parts for this. So that's unfortunate, because that means this has got to go. It would be much better if I could just replace this one small piece and fix it, but we're going to do the whole thing anyway, which is great. In some respects, the new model is kind of an all-in-one unit rather than a separate softener and salt tank, so it's a little more compact, giving you a little more space in your basement for other things. I've already undone the old connectors. Before I did that, I turned off the water going to and from, and then opened up this valve that allows me to bypass the softener so that while I'm working on this, everyone else in the house can still have water. This could take a while, so I don't want them to not be able to flush the toilet or get a drink of water or anything like that. Tools for this job that you will most likely need: crescent wrench, adjustable crescent wrench to take off the fittings. If your crescent wrench is too small, like mine is for the new big 1-inch fittings, channel lock wrench will do the trick. Also, if you got a pipe wrench, that'll probably work as well, or go get a bigger adjustable crescent wrench. Screwdriver. There's a couple little fittings on the unit that I had to take off with a screwdriver, and some plumber's tape to help seal up the connectors when you put them back on. I also have a hacksaw here because this has a sort of hardline drain system for when it's regenerating, and I need to cut that down to get it out of the way. The new unit has a flexible line that will go into a drain in your floor, and easy enough. So first thing to do, obviously unconnect it, unplug it, disconnect it, and next we're going to disconnect the unit from the salt tank. So the salt tank is typically connected to these 2-unit things by just a small, simple little hose that we can just untwist, usually by hands. You shouldn't need a tool for that. Undone, easy peasy. Now, of course, I bought a whole bunch of salt before I realized that the leak was the problem. So I've got a whole bunch of salt left in this tank. I'm going to use my dolly to get it out of the way, and then I'll probably have to use a shovel or something to get the salt out of this one into the new ones, so A, I don't waste any salt, and B, I don't have to try to carry it all back upstairs again. Next thing, let's get the old water softener unit itself out of the way. Okay, now I'm going to cut out this sort of drain system so that when the water softener is recharging, all the kind of wastewater goes down here into my floor drain. I do have a hardline system here. The new one does come with a flexible hose. Most of them do. So if you just want to run that straight to your drain, that'll be fine. I like mine a little more neat and tidy, so I've got kind of this one hardline system set up for a bunch of different things like the water heater, the furnace condensation over there, whole house humidifier, that kind of thing. So what I'm going to end up doing is cutting this down, getting it out of the way, and I'll route it around the location of the new one, add a T so I can tap in the new flexible line, and we'll go from there. But first I just need to get this old stuff out of the way. Now good, they anchored it to the floor. You'll get a hammer for that. There we go. Cut this piece off because that's what I'll build off of. Alright, that is that. Okay, the next thing we need to do is assemble the bypass valve. Now you saw earlier that I actually have 3 valves set up in the main house plumbing that allows me to bypass without using any valve on the unit itself. This one would allow me to stick these adapters directly into the water softener and just tap in off of those. I'm going to go ahead and use the bypass valve anyway, A, because this is a little easier than turning all 3 valves, B, I don't want to store it somewhere or just get rid of it, so this will be just set on the unit itself. Also, I like the fact that it's turning 90 degrees. The new flexible hoses that I got from the hardware store, I'm really hoping are long enough, but this takes care of the 90 degrees, so I don't have to worry about a really tight bend in that flexible line. So these should be fairly easy to assemble. And then just get in there, make sure the O-ring is intact, and then they come with these sort of little locking clips that should just go right in place. Easy enough. Boom. Done. Done and done. Okay. This unit also has not only the drain line for when it's recharging, but it also has a flexible line that comes out for if it overflows. You can drain out rather than spilling all over the floor in a place you may not want it. It's worth noting, and it says here right in the directions, that some municipalities may not actually allow you to run the flexible drain line. Some areas will require a hard line, so check with your local business code or local building codes. I'm going to run the hard line anyway for this installation, just because I want one hose rather than multiple going to the drain. But yeah, check with your local building codes to make sure you're doing the right one. And with that, we'll go and put this bypass valve on the unit and see if the hoses I got actually reach. Otherwise, back to the hardware store. Okay, ready to install some of the unit. This one, you can either have it going up or going down. Now obviously, if you don't buy this particular model, yours may be different, so follow your manufacturer's instruction manual. So again, should be pretty easy to hopefully slide these in. Okay, a good click. Then a couple more of the clips. Easy enough. Some of the other ones you may just have to use your wrench and tighten them on, tighten on your lines, and they may come with this unit built on. A lot of the separate ones, like the one we're replacing, are that way. This one though, it's pretty easy just to slide right on. All right, let's turn around and cross our fingers to see if the lines we bought are long enough. All right, moment of truth. Just little threads there. Oh. Thank goodness. Usually when these things happen, I make like 6 strips of the hardware store. So this is flexible. I'll be able to bend that into there. Perfect. Now we're going to want to clean these threads up, put some plumber's tape on them, the Teflon tape stuff, same as the ones on the unit. Get this thing hooked up. Right. I use a little wire brush to clean off all the corrosion on these older fittings. Honestly, it may not actually be required. The new thread should go on there just fine, but it is just a nice little step to do if you've got the time and the, of course, metal brush to do this. As you know, if you're going to solder on connections, that's a whole different story and one for another video. That's better, a little shinier. Yeah, should probably take the old seals off too. Wondering what those black things were. Awesome. Alright, so let's go ahead and thread on our plumber's tape. Now, you're not going to be able to thread these on the entire way, so there's not really a big need to go all the way up. Give them a good couple wraps. This will help seal and, like I said, and make it actually a little bit easier to put the fittings on as well. Okay. Same thing with the fittings on the unit itself. Make sure when you're putting this on, you don't have any little ends of this hanging into the pipe, because you don't want that going through your water system. Could clog up something important like your water heater, especially if you got a tankless like I do. A couple wraps. Okay, there's that. Now, the lines. Hook up to the house first. Mine is a little bit weird because standard note these days appears to be to go 1 inch to 1 inch. And I'm going 1 inch on the softener to 3/4 inch on the house itself. Let's get those. The next one. And your instruction manual for your water softener should indicate which one is your inlet and which one is your outlet. Make sure you hook them up to the right ones. You don't really want this thing going backwards. Okay, I'm just going to loosely fit these for now. Make sure I can get everything on without crossing the threads or anything like that. Straight. tighten these up, get everything secure, and we'll see what the next step is. Okay, next thing we want to do is hook up our drain lines. Again, we've got two of these, one for the overflow and one for when it is recharging. The overflow one, we have to put in this grommet and then this fitting. And then I've roughly calculated out, measured out the tubing that I will need to length. And we'll trim it up to the final length when I hook it into the hardline. This will probably be the last step until we power it on and start adding salt. All right. So for this, stick the grommet in first. A hole there for that. It's going to be a bit tricky and stubborn. Alright, and then insert the fitting. Got our length of hose, and this kit actually came with 2 hose clamps, which I will stick on first before I hook it onto the fitting. That way I don't have to thread the hose clamp all the way up the line. Grab those. Alright, hose clamps. Probably a better tool for this than these, but this is what I have. Spread that open. On. And onto the fitting. And then move the hose clamp up to so the clamping the hose to the fitting. So this is probably a horrible angle. Let's see if I can do a better one for the next piece. Alright, got the line installed. Obviously this coil is not going to be the final installation. Sorry I didn't show you, but it's really kind of cramped in there. You can see, hopefully. There's our hose clamp on the line, and we are pretty much ready to go. So now there is in this manual, it says we do not want to have air get into the system if at all possible. So there's a sequence that we're going to go through to first turn on a faucet, and then we're going to start kind of opening up these valves in a particular sequence as per the directions. So let's get that started. Okay, so now it is time for really step 8, pressure test for leaks. This always makes me nervous, of course, because water is not always my friend and can leak badly, cause damage and everything else. We want to go through this step. This unit comes with installation instructions on how to do this step by step. So it says to fully open a cold water faucet nearby the water softener. Alright, step 1. Now that's going to be behind there. My apologies, that's going to get a bit loud. So I'll try to speak loud so that you can hear. Alright, place everything into bypass position. Great. The water main is on. It actually never got turned off because we're doing the bypass this way. Okay. No air bubbles now. Place the bypass valve in service or water softening. Slowly move the valve stem towards service, pausing several times to allow water softening to fill with water. Fully close the bypass valve and open the outlet valve. So, I'm going to set my water softener valve to service position. Close the bypass, open outlet, slowly open inlet. Good news is no leaks so far, so that's a plus. Everything's running as per usual, as expected, and as hoped. It says here, do it for several times with a lot of water, and then allow it to run for 3 minutes. So I'm going to let this run, and I'll get back to you with the next steps. Alright, water softener is set. We're going to run for a few minutes. Still no leaks. The next thing to do is to add salt and water. So this creates a brine solution that the water softener uses to kind of clean out all that calcium and grains of hardness that it is trying to clean out of your water. And that then gets discharged out your regeneration drain line into the drain. So this unit says add about 3 gallons of water and then add the salt to get that brine solution started. And then it's plugging the power supply and programming the controller. Now, obviously, your programming is going to vary based on your water hardness, your recharge cycle desiredness, plus, of course, the unit that you buy. Plus, the salt adding is nothing entertaining. It's going to be me shoveling this probably for like an hour or so to get all the salt into this unit. So we're going to wrap it up there. Hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, give me a like or a subscribe if you are enjoying this series. Again, this is all about learning and getting better at things that this is all about getting better at things that we may not even try ourselves. We may just leave it to professionals. So save money, learn new skills, hopefully be less of an idiot. So always measure your fittings before you go and buy your unit, or when you go and buy the unit, so that you come back with the right hoses, for example. Leave a comment below if you have any suggestions on how to improve the process. I'd love to hear from you. Other than that, see you next time.